Imagine this. You're at the training academy. You're a police officer. You're in a room preparing for in-service. It's training. It's some training. You're kind of relaxed. Y'all kind of kick back. It's mostly men, a couple of women. There's people lining the back of the room. And you're like, why are these people here? You don't know what the training is about, but you know that there's somebody at the front of the room. It's a classmate. You're like, why is she up there? But nevertheless, we just want to get this training out the way. We don't care. At some point, training begins. We were doing chitter chat and we were talking. It just got really silent. So all of a sudden, Bonita was her name. She's standing at the front of the room. And Bonita and I had worked together for over 20 years. And Bonita starts to tell a story about how she, as a new police officer, had been the victim of domestic violence. So all of this was all new to me. But in that moment, it felt like all of the air sucked out of the room. All of a sudden, my chest felt so tight. All of a sudden, it was so hot and I couldn't breathe. And I felt naked in the room, and all of a sudden tears started running down my eyes and into my mouth. And I just needed to get out of the room, and people were looking at me. And one of my classmates, another female, she mouthed to me, "What's going on?" And I couldn't tell her, of course, what was going on because I felt naked. And everybody was probably trying to figure out, why was I crying? So I looked at Bonita, then I looked at the door, and I looked at Bonita, then I looked at the door, and I looked at the people behind me, and I was like, what am I going to do? And then I was like, I just got to go. So I got up and I ran out of the room and I ran to the bathroom. And so I was in the bathroom with my hands on the sink, and I was looking down, and I felt that cold linoleum the cold porcelain on my hand. I looked up, I was like, you got to go back. You got to go back in. You got to go back in, Stephanie. You got to go back into the room. You are a police officer, and so is your husband. You got to go back in. So I went back into this room. So I went back in the room. After pacing back and forth in that bathroom, I went back into the room. Was the slowest walk back in. Everybody was watching me as I took my seat. And as I sat down, I thought I had control, but then the tears started rolling again. I was patting my face because this time I had tissues. But listen, previously I was in there like this. So now they're looking at me like she's still crying. But when it was over, I couldn't stay around. I got in my car and I drove home. I drove home to my husband, and I was like, I wonder if they know. I wonder if they know that I was a victim. I want them to know that I am a survivor. I told my husband this story, and he was telling me about the power that I hold. And he reminded me of who I am, and which led me to remember what Les Brown said: fear does not have any special power unless you empower it by submitting to it. You have to take back your power. You have to take back your power. My name is Stephanie Wall, affectionately called the Tower of Power. I took back my power. Take back yours. Don't let anything steal your power. The choice is yours.